A single female mosquito can carry a virus that kills within days, and every summer, cities across America answer her with trucks that spray chemical fog into the night air. And yet the diseases keep coming back. West Nile, dengue, Zika, all still spreading through neighborhoods the trucks were supposed to protect. So Verily, the life sciences arm of Google's parent company Alphabet, decided to stop spraying poison and start releasing more mosquitoes instead, millions of them, on purpose, into backyards in Florida and California. Here's the plan: strip to its bones, raise mosquitoes by the millions, infect the males with a bacteria most insects already carry, sort them by machine, and set them free. It works because of something almost no one outside a lab knows about mosquito biology. It works instead of the thing you're told to buy every spring: the spray can, the yard treatment, the subscription fogging service. And there's a second layer to this bacteria that does something even stranger than blocking reproduction, and I'll get to that. Start with why the old method stopped working. For most of the last century, the answer to mosquitoes was brute force. Poison the air, coat the wetlands, spray the yard. For a while it worked. Then the mosquitoes changed. Spraying a population does not kill all of them. It kills the weak ones. The handful that already carry a genetic quirk survive, breed, and pass that quirk on. Spray again, and the survivors are tougher than before. Do this for a few seasons, and you are not controlling the population anymore. You are training it. Researchers testing wild mosquitoes in Florida against a standard pesticide found populations that had become dozens of times harder to kill than an untreated one, and a mutation behind that resistance had already spread across nearly the entire state. The second alternative, just spraying more often, fails for a different reason. The chemical does not stay where you aim it. It drifts into gardens and flower beds, settling on the plants pollinators depend on. Bees have no resistance built up the way the mosquitoes do, so the fog kills the insects you did not mean to touch while barely denning the one you did. The third fallback, bug zappers and citronella, mostly targets insects that are not biting you in the first place. The mosquito that matters most barely notices either one. Every popular fix shares the same blind spot. They all attack the mosquito from the outside, and anything attacked from the outside eventually adapts. Here's the fact that flips the whole problem. Only the female mosquito bites. She needs the protein in blood to produce eggs. The male feeds on nectar, lives a few days, and does exactly one thing that matters. He mates. If you could flood a neighborhood with males that mate normally but produce no viable offspring, the population would collapse from the inside, without a single drop of poison touching anyone's yard. That's the counterintuitive fact experts have known for decades and almost no homeowner has ever heard. Getting there means solving a brutal sorting problem first, and this is where Verily's actual process runs. Mosquitoes are raised in climate-controlled trays by the millions, then fed one at a time past an optical scanner, a computer vision system built the way Google builds most things, by throwing automation at a problem humans used to do by hand. In a fraction of a second, the system reads the size and shape differences between a male and a female, differences a person would miss staring through a microscope for hours, and physically diverts them onto separate paths. Males keep moving down the line toward release crates. Females get pulled out and destroyed because even one biting female slipping into a release batch defeats the entire point. The single make-or-break detail in this whole operation is that separation step. Get it wrong at scale and you are not suppressing a mosquito population, you are mailing it to people's front doors. One automated sorting line can process roughly 150,000 pupa antiagi an hour at better than 99.7% accuracy, a pace that would take two people with microscopes the better part of a week to match by hand. The machines also don't get tired on the 7th hour of a shift, which matters more than it sounds, because fatigue is exactly when a manual sorter starts letting females through. The males that make it through aren't just sterile, they're carrying something. It's called Wolbachia, and it's one of the most ordinary bacteria on the planet, already living naturally inside a huge share of the world's insect species. There's no gene editing, no lab-built DNA. A male carrying the right strain mates completely normally. But if the female he mates with doesn't carry a matching strain, the fertilized eggs simply never hatch. Repeat that across a whole season with short-lived insects, and most of a neighborhood's egg-laying grinds to nothing. Because there isn't just one strain of this bacteria, the whole cycle can be rotated, one strain this season, a different one next, so the suppression doesn't rely on a single biological trick indefinitely. Field results back this up. In Fresno County, California, treated suburban neighborhoods saw a drop of more than 95% in biting female mosquitoes compared to nearby untreated blocks, with the results published and peer-reviewed in Nature Biotechnology rather than left as a press release. The same underlying approach has since been run in Singapore and in parts of Australia, on different continents in different climates, with the same basic outcome. And there's a detail that undercuts the instinctive fear here. Residents in those early trials were invited to let the released males land on bare skin. Nobody got bitten because a male mosquito is physically incapable of biting anyone. The only creature that has anything to fear from these releases is a female mosquito looking for a mate. This is also where that second layer comes in, the one worth waiting for. Beyond blocking reproduction, some strains of this same bacteria appear to reduce a mosquito's ability to transmit viruses in the first place. So even in the rare case where a female slips past every safeguard and successfully reproduces, the offspring may simply be worse at spreading disease. It's not the primary mechanism and it's not guaranteed, but it functions as a built-in backup layer stacked on top of a suppression method that was already working before this effect was even factored in. None of this is guaranteed to work everywhere, and three things get in the way. First, this method isn't self-sustaining. Unlike approaches where the bacteria spreads on its own through a wild population, sterile male release has to be repeated, mosquitoes manufactured and released, season after season, for as long as you want the effect to hold. Stop releasing, and the population rebounds. Second, heat works against the bacteria itself. Sustained high temperatures can thin out Wolbachia inside the insect, weakening both the reproductive block and the virus blocking effect. And the hottest places are exactly the tropical regions where mosquito-borne disease does the most damage, meaning the tool is weakest precisely where it's needed most. And third, the one that catches people off guard. It isn't primarily a science problem anymore, it's a permission and funding problem. A technique can be proven across 3 continents and still stall for years in a regulatory review because most health agencies have never had to evaluate a plan built around deliberately releasing live mosquitoes into neighborhoods. Zoom out, and this is bigger than one release in 2 states. The same underlying principle, attack reproduction instead of the individual insect, has already ended one of the worst livestock plagues in United States history when sterilized flies were used to wipe out a flesh-eating parasite decades ago. Researchers are now trying to adapt this same approach against West Nile's mosquito family, though that species already carries the bacteria naturally, which means the method has to be reworked rather than copied directly. If Verily's sterile male approach holds up at full state scale, it becomes a template, not just for one mosquito species, but for how disease control gets done at all. So here's where it actually lands. A program built on bacteria most insects already carry, sorted by machines instead of hands, aimed at an insect that has out-adapted every poison thrown at it for a century. The industry that sells chemical spraying every spring profits from a fight that never quite ends, a population knocked down just enough to need next year's truck, never eliminated for good. Verily's bet is the first serious attempt to end that cycle instead of renewing it, whether it reaches the neighborhoods that need it most, and not just the 2 wealthiest states willing to fund it, is the part still being decided. If you want to see where this goes next, that's worth sticking around for. Drop your questions below and subscribe if you want the follow-up when the results come in.